Hey folks, we are cold and dark here in Everett, Washington, Snohomish County, Payne Field. This is the home of the jumbo jets. Here built are Boeing 747s, wide body 767s, 777s, and the newest addition to the fleet, the Dreamliner, the Boeing 787. We'll take a look outside. Bit of a blustery, windy day. We're in what's called the delivery center. The delivery center is the only place on Boeing Field where there are actually jet bridges. And this is where customers pick up their brand new shiny jets. In the very background there, you can see the largest building in the world in terms of interior volume, the Boeing Assembly Factory. If you were to fill that building with water, it would hold more water than any other building on the planet. Just amazing. Just ahead to the right is the paint shed. Last stop for these aircraft as they get their final coat of paint. And just to the left of that is the hush house, a place where the airplanes can be put in, throttle up their engines, and keep the noise down to a minimum so it doesn't disturb the neighborhood. You can see some other aircraft parked out here that have recently come off the assembly line. 787s, 767s. A couple of fictitious things about our flight today. First of all, Boeing is no longer actively producing the passenger version of the Boeing 747. This is the 747-800, but the only ones that are currently being built are the freighters. So that jumbo jet business has really suffered, and I don't believe Airbus with their A380 is getting a lot of orders. There's just not a lot of demand for a passenger plane this big. And I imagine with COVID going on, that's especially true. Another thing that's fictitious is our route today. A very short route. This plane, of course, is designed for long haul. But we're only taking it to Geiger Field in Spokane. And the reason for that is basically it's a practicality issue. In flight simming, you can either, with a big airplane like this, you can either fly it long haul, endure the 9 or 10 hours of the stream, or perhaps cut out the cruise portion, only do the takeoff or landing, or you can have an unrealistic flight like we're having today, just a short little flight over to Spokane and get the whole flight in, but it's not the type of flight that a 747 would usually fly. So I thought that's what we would do, just a quick flight to Spokane. And unfortunately, that's not what I had originally planned. I had originally planned a flight to San Francisco, which again is not necessarily very realistic, but it's a little longer. and it's plausible too. You know, you could say a new airline was taking delivery of their plane. They're flying it to San Francisco. They'll, after it's done its test flights, of course, and then it will load up with revenue passengers and go to Asia or go to Europe or wherever it might go. But let's set up this flight to Geiger Field, and I'm going to go to a very helpful plugin called SimBrief Helper. I'm going to fetch the data from my SimBrief that I recently created. And with that data, we'll pull up my air traffic control program, which is called Pilot to ATC. And we will, I don't know if I can cut and paste here or not. Maybe not. No, I don't believe so. That's okay. Just type it real fast. KPAE to Zadon, Zadon, to Zelak, Zelak, to Zyron, Ziron, to Zoomer, ZOOMR, and then to Geiger, KGEG, which is Spokane International Airport. No SIDS or stars added. Okay, there you can see a graphical representation of our route. And I will validate that. It added, I'm sure it's going to add a arrival. Cannot file flight unless you're connected to your simulator. Oh, I've got to connect first. Okay. Well, we're going to hold off on filing that flight plan because I know when I do, the ATIS is going to kick in and it's going to be rather bothersome. So I'll push that off to the side for right now. And I'll push the sim brief helper. I wonder if I can push this off to the side. Oh, it went somewhere. I'm not sure where it went. Okay. Anyway, let's get some power on our aircraft. We have external power available. We'll use it. Oh. What's going on here? Oh, here we go. Somehow. Okay, we have external power. Turn the battery on. Left and right utilities are on, so the coffee maker is heating up. Of course, that's the most important part of any flight. I will line the inertia reference systems, align nav on left, align nav on right, and align nav on center. Turn the hydraulic pumps to auto. Hold off on the fuel pumps for a little bit. Hold off on the APU. Turn on some lights. Logo light on. Wing light on. Strobe light off for now. Nav light on. Beacon off for now. And the big lights can stay off. We are looking good here. Arm the forward and aft cargo fire sensors. Fire test is fine. Emergency lights are armed. Can't figure out how to get that switch cover back, close that switch cover. Wow, how did I do that? How do I get that switch cover closed? I don't know. Okay, hold off on the fuel pumps for right now. Let's go down to the flight management computer. This concerns me a little bit. We can't see our AIRAC data. Verify the type of aircraft, Boeing 7478, Gen X engines, position initialization. Here's our GPS position. We'll set it for the IRS in the scratch pad, and in it goes. We are at Payne Field in Everett, PAE. We're at gate number 2. There's only 2 gates, 1 and 2. Origin is Payne Field. destination is Geiger Field. We're flight number 43. And we will go to the next page. Again, our route is very simple. Zadon. Zelek. Zoomer. I thought we had one more in there, didn't we? Let's look at that. I thought didn't we have one more waypoint? Zadon, Zalek, Zeron. Zeron, and then Zoomer. Okay. I thought it was there. Z-I-R-A-N. And then Zoomer. And that should be it. No departure. I don't have a runway yet for departure. We'll put it as 3-4 left. Oh, this is planning for 16 right. I'm going to put it for 3-4 left, just to guess. And then we don't have to at this time, but I'm going to go ahead and enter in our arrival. No stars. This frustrates me that the software doesn't have a database of arrival stars, standard arrival routes. 03. There's an ILS to 03 that I want. And I'll push execute. Okay. Inertial reference. Before I do this, let's go over here and get the payload and the fuel taken care of. Okay. Zero fuel weight, 260.4. So what we're looking for is that number to be 260.4. I'm going to add 25% payload. See if that gets us close. Not quite. What about 50% payload? That's still pretty shy. 75% payload. Still a little shy. To go to max or not? Is there a way I can just kick it up a little bit? $260.9. What are we looking for? We're looking for zero fuel weight at 260.4. So let's okay. 47 point. Let's go to 47.4. .260.7. We're looking for 260.4. Okay, we're on the right track. 47.1. 260.4, and we're looking for 260.4. That's it. Okay, we are loaded. We've loaded that setting. So let's go to fuel. We want block fuel of 22,900 kilograms. Oh, clear. $22,900. Looks like we're going to have nothing in the center rear tank, and maybe nothing in the wingtip tanks. I mean, you'd like to say not much fuel to Spokane, Washington, but anything in a 747 is a lot of fuel. So that is quite a bit of fuel. Okay, so we've loaded the plane with payload and fuel. Ground services. Let's open up our entry door. We'll open up our forward and aft cargo doors. I'm not sure what this bulk cargo door does, but we'll open it up. GPU is connected. Chocks. We have chocks and GPU. Wonderful. What is this checklist? I'd like to see a checklist. Okay. I'd like to see the. I'm not sure what that checklist option is. I'd like to see that. Wonderful. Let's move over to our flight management computer and get the rest of this entered in. Now, I know from experience, I just can't, I'd like to just type in that zero fuel weight at 260.4, but I've tried that in the past, and it hasn't worked. Nope, doesn't like it. What it wants me to do is to type in our gross weight and our center of gravity. So I don't have a gross rate here. I'll have to go to my sim brief and get our gross weight from here. Oops. Takeoff weight. Takeoff gross weight, 282,307. So that's 282.3. 282.3, and I don't know the center of gravity, so we're going to use that default. It's actually, right now, it's very close. 282.3 slash, and I'm going to use that same center of gravity, 16.7. Okay, it populated zero fuel weight as 260.4, and our zero fuel weight is indeed 260.4. So that is correct. Reserves are 2.2. Oh, I'm not sure. I think it just wants 02. Cruise altitude today, we can't be going too high, 31,000 feet. And while I'm here, I'm going to tell the air traffic control program that we want 31,000 feet. Cost index, I like to keep that rather high. If you know me, you've flown with me before, you know that. Thrust limits, we're going to have a D-rated takeoff for noise abatement. We've got a 10,000 foot runway. Flap setting is 10. Actually, oh, we need to go back to that takeoff. It's index, performance, thrust limits. Okay, outside temperature is 3 degrees Celsius, D-rated. Center of gravity and trim setting. Trim setting is 7.0. Right now you can see that we, on our EFA screen, we're at 7.5. So we're going to roll our trim wheel down. Oh, my fancy new trim wheel on my Bravo throttle doesn't seem to work. Why not? That's what I want to know. So let's go to trim wheel up, trim wheel down. Okay, the settings are correct. Well, the 4.7 has an automatic trim. There's no trim wheel here, unlike other aircraft. So we should be at 7. We're at 7.5. We're in the green zone. I'm going to leave that alone for right now. Let's verify these V-speeds. And we will be moving along. Route. Activate the route and execute. Let's get our clearance. Clearance.
Weather is not currently available for Snohomish County.
1400
Arriving
Zulu
and
weather.
departing runway
Wind
34 right,
080 at
34
5.
left.
Visibility more than 10.
Weather is not
Sky
currently
clear.
available for
Temperature
Snohomish
3.
County.
Dew point minus
Arriving
1.
and departing runway
Altimeter
34 right,
3043.
34 left.
Arriving runway 16 right.
Weather is not currently
Departing runway
available for
16
Snohomish
right.
County.
Pane clearance delivery. Boeing 4-3, ready to copy.
Boeing 4-3, we don't have a flight plan on file for you.
Oh, that's because I didn't file it. You should always file your flight plan. Okay, just take a quick second here. Here we go. Pane clearance delivery. Boeing 4-3, ready to copy.
Boeing 4-3 is cleared to Kilo Golf Echo Golf as filed. Expect departure runway 34 left. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 128.5. Squawk 4155.
Boeing 4-3 is cleared to Kilo Golf Echo Golf as filed. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 128.5. Squawk 4155.
Boeing 43 read back correct. Altimeter 299er2 contact ground on 121.8 when ready for pushback. Good day.
Altimeter 299er2 ground on 121.8 Boeing 43.
We have our squawk code. We are in the TA setting. We have our altimeter setting. We have our initial altitude and our heading. We'll pull up our V speeds. V2 is 162. I'll add 10 to that for 172. That's our initial target airspeed. We are looking pretty good. Let's plan our pushback. Runway 34 is to the north, so we want to taxi to the south, which means tail left. That's good.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Well, we don't have a cabin crew on board today. I'm going to say that the boarding process is in its final stages. Let's go outside, look at these doors that are open. I know our jet bridge didn't detach. It's kind of a shame that jet bridge doesn't work. But you can see the entry door. And at a commercial airport, you would often find a Boeing 747s using two jet bridges and bordering forward cabin and also bordering mid cabin. It's extremely rare, but you could actually use a third jet bridge and load on the upper deck as well. And I'll show you kind of the configuration for that. You can see that there's a possibility of docking 3 jet bridges at a time, which is unique in the world of aviation. Let's take a look at those cargo doors. Most airplanes load baggage cargo using these conveyor belts. You can see these baggage conveyor belts right here on the right hand side. Just to the left, this is a pallet loader, and you can see that the 747, most of its baggage is taken in the form of palletized cargo. So here's the rear door, the main aft door, and then the forward door. Where's the forward door? Why can't I see it? Oh, there it is. There it is. It's well forward. Let's go ahead and close these doors. And we will, let's make sure we're on APU before we disconnect ground power. We are not yet on APU. Let's go on APU. APU on. APU start. We'll turn on the APU bleed air. We're going to need that bleed air. And way up here in the front of the aircraft, I'll get the beacon light on too. Let folks know below that we are actively engaging the APU. Surfaces might start to move. Hot exhaust will certainly come from the back of that APU. We get the fuel pumps turned on. There are a whole bunch of them for this bad boy, Mama airplane. And now the only indication, we can't hear the APU from up here, but we can see the APU is available. So we'll go on to APU. We're off of external power, and now we can safely get rid of that generator. And we can also let air traffic control know that we would like to push back and start up the engines. Main ground, Boeing 43, request pushback and engine start.
Boeing 43 pushback and engine start approved.
Pushback and engine start approved Boeing 43.
Let's get the flight directors on. I'm going to hold off on the auto throttle. I want to turn the auto brakes to the RTO, or rejected takeoff position. I like to have the takeoff reference on the second screen. Let's go to menu, takeoff, and I want to have the legs page on the number on the screen nearest me. We are looking good. Let's get that pushback. What I was looking for down here, I was looking for the rudder trim, the aileron trim, and the cabin door lock. I don't see the cabin door. Oh, here it is, flight deck door. Flight deck door in the deny position. That's what I was looking for. Chime the cabin a couple of times. I believe there's also the seatbelt sign is down here. I could be wrong on that. Might be upstairs. Is the seatbelt sign up here? I don't see it. I thought previously
unable to find UID 14.
It was down below. Oh, here we go. Seatbelts. Ha ha. Okay, seatbelt sign on. Flight deck door locked. I'm not losing my mind all at once. It's only happening slowly. Let's get that pushback.
Grounded cockpit. Tow is driving up. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Yeah, the last time I flew this aircraft, the pushback froze as well. Started it over again and it was fine.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Are we frozen up once again? Give it one more try here.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
She says ready to connect, but she doesn't actually connect. That's a shame. I don't know if there's a way for me to push back without better. I'm going to disable better pushback. I'm going to re-enable it. Oh. Well, try to re-enable it. Okay, it's now re-enabled. Third time's a charm, right? Oh, there it is at the bottom.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect. Set parking brake.
Oh, that might have been the problem. She will certainly not said parking brake. I wish she would have said something before. That's where the issue was, I'm sure. Yeah, she did not say set parking brake. The chocks, and that's typical in aviation. That it sounds counterintuitive that you would ever have a plane as massive as a 747 without the parking brake set. but it's very common in aviation. If the wheels are chopped, the parking brake is disengaged. The airplane rises off the ground. Well, I apologize for that delay.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
It's all a learning curve, right? It's all a learning
Starting
curve.
pushback, and you may start engines.
Until someone loses an eye. Okay, we have bypass air. This airplane can operate with the packs turned on or off. The packs are off right now. Let's go ahead and hit the number 4 starter. We'll go downstairs and we'll hit the oops, where's the there we go. Hit the number 4 cutoff into the run position. Engine number 4 is coming to life nicely. We'll go to number 1 starter. Number 1, cutoff switch to run. Also coming up nicely. And we'll go 2 and 3 together. 2 and 3. Two and 3 both to the run position. 2 came up quickly. Oh, here comes 3. And just like an old chariot racer, you've got, let's say you're a Roman chariot racer, and you've got 4 different steeds, 4 animals that you're controlling, and each one has a slightly different personality. Each one's slightly, one's more powerful, one's less powerful, and it's always true of engines as well. They're never perfect. Packs 1, 2, and 3 on. Put them on high flow, get the temperature kicked up there a little bit. So just like a chariot racer of old, you are controlling these steeds. We no longer need the APU, so we'll turn the APU off. Thankfully, the 747 will change the electrical source without having any input.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake is set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
My flight computer is telling me we're unable to get up to our cruise altitude. That's okay. Such a short flight, we probably won't be cleared for that altitude anyway. That's okay. One of the hazards of the Boeing 747, you've really got to be conscious of what ground equipment is under your nose. Until you see that tug come out from underneath, you have to remember that it's there, because you certainly can't see it from up here. Well, the parking brake is set, but he doesn't seem to realize that. So again, another little glitch with the pushback program. But this one's easy to fix. I will just stop the pushback and he'll go away. Paying ground, Boeing 4 tree, ready to taxi, runway tree 4 left. Paying ground, Boeing 4 tree, request taxi, runway tree 4 left. Paying ground, Boeing 4 tree, request taxi, runway tree 4 left.
Boeing 43 taxi to runway 34 left via taxiways Alpha 8, Alpha 9er, Old Sort runway 16 left, and runway 34 left.
Taxi to runway 34 left via taxiways Alpha, Alpha 8, Alpha 9er, hold short runway 16 left, and runway 34 left Boeing 43.
Taxi lights on, runway turnoff lights on. And let's roll. You're probably noticing I'm skipping a lot of checklists. You know, when I have a virtual first officer, as I do in some of my other videos you've watched, I really enjoy doing checklists with a virtual first officer. But with that one, I get a little lazy. Yeah, this is a heavy beast. Takes a little bit of extra throttle to get it moving, but once it's moving, you can throttle back quite a bit. And again, having 4 throttle levers is something to get used to. Used to dealing with 2. And as I mentioned in another video, it's going to be interesting to try to work all 4 thrust reversers when it comes time to land. Much clearances, do you? This is a problem for the space. Of course, you wouldn't be a rookie pilot flying a brand new Boeing 737-800 from the delivery center. Here's a 200 model. That's an old Boeing cargo bus. That's a 200 freighter. Somehow, I must have accidentally hit the toga switch. And I don't know if there's a way to turn that off. Or what's going to happen when I really do want
Boeing
toga
4
power.
3 cleared to cross runway 34 rigged.
Cleared to cross runway 34 right Boeing 43.
If you've ever been to Payne Field, you know that it has 2 parallel runways. 34 left and 16 right are the 10,000 foot runway for the big heavies. 34 right and 16 left is a small general aviation runway. It's actually off to our left-hand side. It's out there quite a distance. We just got clearance to cross it, but the two runways don't intersect. When your taxi speed starts to move your speed tape, the tape along the left side of your primary flight display, you know you're taxiing too fast. 34 knots is a little excessive for a taxi speed. Yeah, the takeoff flat position. Good catch there, buddy. 10 degrees of flaps. That's what we want for takeoff. Ding the cabin one more time. Let's get these takeoff lights or landing lights on.
Boeing 43 contact tower on 120.2. Have a good morning.
Tower on 120.2 Boeing 43.
Get the strobe light on. Get the transponder into the TARA traffic advisory resolution position. Payne Tower, Boeing 43, request departure, runway 34 left.
Boeing 43 contact clearance delivery on 127.17 with this request.
I don't want
Clearance delivery on 127.17 Boeing 43.
I don't want clearance delivery. I want tower. Boeing Tower.
Aircraft calling tower say again with your call sign.
Payne Tower, Boeing 43, ready for departure, runway 34 left. Payne Tower, Boeing 43, request departure, runway 34 left.
Aircraft calling tower say again with your call sign.
Payne Tower, Boeing 43, ready for departure, runway 34 left.
Boeing 43 this is tower go ahead.
Payne Tower, Boeing 43, ready for takeoff, runway 34 left. Payne Tower, Boeing 43, ready for departure, runway 34 left. Payne Tower, Boeing 43, request departure, runway 34 left.
Boeing 43 contact clearance delivery on 127.17 with this request.
Clearance delivery on 127.17 Boeing 43.
Request departure. Boeing 43, request departure, runway 34 left. Say it.
Boeing 43 request departure runway 34 left.
Boeing 43 departure on runway 34 left is approved.
That's not much of a takeoff clearance. that's not the phraseology I would expect. I'll take it, but it's not what I expected. Okay. Now let's find out if that takeoff go-around indication is going to affect our takeoff. Auto throttle to arm. Now here's the, actually because of that toga, I'm going to hold off on turning the auto throttle on until after I'm lined up. I don't know what the throttles will do. Auto throttle to arm. Let's start the clock. And let's roll, baby. We have our toga indication. I only moved the throttle levers just a bare scan little forward.
80 knots.
Something was funky about that takeoff clearance because usually we would be getting an instruction from the ground right away. We're also getting something on our EVA screen, fuel tank engine. I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to. I'm not going to troubleshoot it now. I'm too low to the ground.
Contact clearance delivery on 127.17 Boeing 43.
I don't know why you want me to go to clearance delivery. Center, Boeing 4 tree is with you, 3,800. Seattle Center, Boeing 4-3. Main clearance delivery, Seattle, Boeing 4-3. Main clearance delivery, Seattle, Boeing 4-3. Main clearance delivery, Boeing 4-3. Well, I may be making this flight without air traffic control. I hate to do it without them. Main clearance delivery, Boeing 4-3. getting anything from them. I'm going to climb to 18,000. You've got to climb fairly soon after departure if you're heading east, because the highest peak of the Cascades here is about 14,000 feet, but most of these other peaks are in the 9,000 foot range. They come up pretty fast if you're departing to the east, so let's go to 18,000. I still don't know what that fuel tank engine issue is. My fuel panel seems fine. Let's turn off the landing lights and the runway turn off lights and the taxi light. On the flight deck, there's no crew in this aircraft. Just a couple of empty seats. We are the best. Picture our life flying an airplane with no crew. See these? Clearance delivery, Boeing for a tree, ready to copy. Main clearance delivery, Boeing for a tree, ready to copy. Keeps asking me to contact clearance delivery, but it doesn't say what for. So this is such a short flight, I'm just going to continue on. See, our indicated airspeed is staying rather stable, but as we climb, our ground speed is climbing as well. Here's 18,000 feet. We switch over to standard altimeter, and I'm just going to say we got 24,000 feet. Oops. Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, just off to the left, and well in the distant Mount St. Helens. And it's not visible from here, but between those two, if you maybe had perfectly clear skies or maybe a little higher, you might see Mount Hood in Oregon. Mount St. Helens is only a scant 15 or so miles from the Oregon border. Looking to the north, you might see Mount Baker. I don't see Mount Baker. Of course, you never know about the Seattle City Council. In their great wisdom, they've probably renamed all the mountains. flight level 310. Remember the rule, if you're flying east, you fly on an odd number, 1,000 foot altitude. If you're flying west, you fly on an even 1,000 foot altitude. And if you're flying under visual flight rules, you would be at a 500 foot increment. 500 feet above or 500 feet below. So a VFR flight heading east would be, now again, anything above 18,000 feet is Class A airspace, which is, you need to be on a IFR flight plan, so you'd be under 18,000 feet. So a typical VFR eastern altitude might be 15,500. It's odd, and it's in a 500 foot increment, and it's below 18,000 feet. Here's our flight. Runway 3. On the Zoomer 1. So when we get to Zoomer, we will want to take a course of 052 inbound. We're going to have to offset to the right to line up with runway 3. And usually this would be done by radar vectors. We don't have the benefit of radar vectors. From over Zoomer, via Geiger, runway 232 to gang, to expect radar vectors to final approach course. So that's exactly is the Jinx. So 052 on the inbound, and then will be 031 for runway 3. Radio frequency is 111.1, 031 on the course. These are COM radios. I'm going to assume that the nav function is incorporated into the FMC. .1, 030 on the course. Let's go flaps 30 and 145 on the approach. It's not populating. Not sure I like that. What are we doing here? Not sure what just happened there. Our top of descent. So let's go down to 18,000. Left Zyran, Zoomer, and Zoomer is part. Zoomer is the beginning of the approach procedure. Now again, the approach procedure is not in the flight management computer. You remember when we were loading up the route, we didn't have the option of loading in a procedure. The procedure was not in the database. So our indicated airspeed is at 250 knots, but as we descend, our ground speed and our true airspeed will start to decrease. There's a 250 knot speed restriction under 10,000 feet. So we actually want the speed to be a little bit slower. I'm going to make this 230. And the aircraft will hold altitude until we bleed off that 200 down to 230, and then it will continue in the descent. anything at all. I've disengaged the autopilot. Is continuing to go into heading hold mode. I select LNAV. For runway 3 approach. That's correct. It's only taking me to Zoomer. The approach is programmed. (10,000-foot runway. Runway 3, there's the frequency. There's the course. Again, you remember I'm going to have to jinx over a little bit, so I've actually set the heading indicator. A little bit to the right. And I'm hoping if the nav frequency will catch that beam, we'll ride the beam in. Here's 18,000 feet. I'm going to clear us down to 6,000 feet. I'm going to put in a new waypoint. Gangs. G-A-N-G-S. I think this will help us line up on the runway. Execute. rest of the runway on our primary display, rest of the approach on our primary display. Let's look at that approach. Here's Zoomer. Jegdu is one that I want on there. Jegdu. Jegdu. To control the speed right now. To remove gangs because we want to be at 030 on our approach from Jegdu. Flight direction from Jegdu, I will take over manually. But I'd sure like to get that ILS radio frequency. the speed because I have my speed restrictions here. Now I'm sure the landing gear deploy speed, landing gear extend speed is 270 knots, which we are below that right now. And once it's extended, you can actually go even faster. So, but during extension is the most critical time for the landing gear. That's the easy one. The harder one are the flap settings. Because the flap settings get progressively smaller as you increase it. Once we're beyond 10 degrees of flaps, we're going to have to really slow down on our speed. Let's put the gear out now. And I think we are losing the program. And just lost the program. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and maybe we'll see you next time.